Hey there folks, I'm Max, and today I'm gonna show you how to build a Wild West train. And before we start, please be sure to like and subscribe. And you can follow me on Patreon to support the channel and get access to all my build schematics. Also a huge thank you to Create-O-Holics for supporting the channel. An exciting project coming soon, so stay tuned. And so the first bogie, we're gonna go with a medium standard. And cover the bogie with deep slate. A slab on the side, and a pilot. And going down, we'll switch between slab and a block. And here the back bogie, let's use a leaf spring then. A slab on the side, and this would be a floor of a cab. And then the next layer would be a boiler support. I will use a deep slate and a girder. Make it wider for the firebox. And now for the boiler. We use a black Locomotive and give it a bit of accent with the brass wrapped. And at the front we'll make it a grey Locomotive. And then wrench it. A red number plaque on the very front. And we also need a headlight. And a smokestack. I will use a wood burner one and dye it to grey. Now let's move on to the side. A bit of detail with a piston rod. And make a housing a little bit bulkier using a copycat slab. Now a drive shaft. Just gonna place a hopper over here. And now for the footplate, we'll use a copycat panels. Some pipe detail along the boiler. Use a fluid pipe and a copycat shaft. Add a bracket to it. And maybe a bit of rivet detail with a stone button. Alright, and now we do the same detail on the other side. And here we would do a steam dome. Make it slightly wider with the panels. Now have it be a brass top for this one. Well, this will just have it be a black. Also a bell in the front. Now onto the cab, starting with the wall. use a black Locomotive for the texture. Now we're gonna need a fluid tank for the steam whistle, which would be right here. And the roof will use a copycat slab and a slope layer. A small vent on the top. A big window in the front. A tender coupler, and maybe extend the footplate out a bit. A copycat ladder on the side. Now place the temporary blocks, so we can place some more detail with the copycat half panels. There we go. And cover the hole with a copycat board. Right, so the interior detail. Let's get ourselves a bit of light source first. Place down the controls and seats. And also a lamp on the ceiling. Some redstone link, and also a clipboard on the wall. Alright, and that's it for the engine. Next up, the tender. We use a freight bogies. A deep slate slab on the side. And maybe switch it to some trapdoors. Also a shaft and brackets. Alright, now I'm gonna separate the tender into compartments. Just like that. And cover the side with the panels. And continue the texture from the cab. In the back we'll have a screw-link coupler and a buffer. An access ladder. So in the back compartment will be a water tank. Now use the copycat steps for top edges for the bunk. for this drain, let's have it be a wood burner. Here I'm using an old log with the copycat steps for smaller wood pile. And that's it for the tender. And now for the carriage, I've already made it in my other video, which I will put a link in the description. So in this one we're just gonna go through it very quickly, except for some design tweaks. And starting with the carriage bed. And the wall for this one I will use spruce wood. Then the copycat panels on the side. Covering the roof. A detail on the overhang using a copycat headstock. And I'll change it to railing from design and decor. A screw link coupler, and also add a copycat ladder, but only in the back. And details on the windows. And the interior will go with the basic earth tone colors, nothing too fancy. Now let's couple another 2 carriages. Now let's change the last car into a flatbed. Replace the stairs with the deep slate slabs. And now change the copycat floor to a dark oak slab. I will use this flatbed to haul a log, so let's have some trapdoors railing. Extra detail with diagonal girders. And I will place down the log of your choosing in various lengths. And use a minecart rail as a strap. And the same technique as a tender, we use the copycat steps for small wood pile. Cover the rest of the floor with the trapdoors and the copycat boards. And lastly, the caboose. A dozen of Create mod trains I've made, and yet somehow I always forget about caboose. Let's use an arch bar style for the bogie. The floor and stair will be very similar to the passenger carriage. Girder and shaft. 2 iron sheet metal in the middle, then repeat the front. For the wall, I will go with the vertical mangrove planks. A copycat on the side. I'll have this one be a door and a few windows. Chisel deep slate on the top, while the rest will be a mangrove. And the roof. Extend the copycat here up for 2 blocks. Let's change the texture a bit. Maybe a mangrove planks panel. A deep slate slab and copycat panels for the roof. And also a bit of overhang, using a copycat half layer. Extra half panels here on the side. Once again, similar detail to passenger carriage, but with a red lamp. And maybe a railing for the ladder. Same detail on the front without a lamp or ladder. And the final detail, a smokestack. Right click on it to disable the smoke. And there we go. Now the interior. A dark oak plank beams to divide the room. And cover the aisle with a board. And an andesite door. A board on the ceiling as well. Alright, it's ready to be furnished. Let's start with a small gantry. And a dining table on the other side. And the elevated seat area. Adding some workstation and cabinets below. And of course, a clipboard for decoration. And finally a bunk bed and a work table. Alright, the train is all done. Now let's glue everything. Make sure the glue between the cars are not intersecting. Should be ready to go. And there we go.